This is when streaming giants collide, and the two streaming giants in question are not only there, but also up there. Rak from Spotify and Iain from Channel 4. Please give them a very warm welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. You always know when you're at a future event when Steve's got his famous jacket on as well, right? That you just know it's one of those days. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're all well. We've got 15 minutes together to fly through this, and 15 minutes isn't enough, Steve. There's the first bit of feedback. But what I want to start with is I'm Rak Patel. I lead EMEA sales at Spotify, and I'm going to be your host for this next session, Channel 4 and Spotify. And as you heard Steve say, when streaming giants collide. Now, I am delighted to say we have Iain Walters with us. So Iain is Head of Marketing at Channel 4, and that covers streaming, reality, comedy, entertainment, digital, and marketing partnerships. He started his career at P&G, then moving on to Google, King, BT, and Free Now. And at uni, he was the editor-in-chief of Hype magazine as well. So
where did you dig that one up from?
Right, it's on your LinkedIn, man.
Oh no.
It's on your LinkedIn. Right, let's start with a little icebreaker. Obviously, this is the inaugural Future of Audio and Entertainment crossover. What's on your playlist or podcast and the TV series that are on repeat constantly?
Obviously, I have to go with a Channel 4 TV series. So if anybody isn't watching Married at First Sight Australia, please do so.
Who's not watching it? Hands up.
Everybody pretends, and then suddenly,
It's going to be audience participation today, team.
But there's a great new comedy on Channel 4 as well. It's called Big Mood. It's got Nicola Klogman and Lydia West in it. And it's about, it's a comedy, but it's based around bipolar, and it's the 6 stages of bipolar. And so, you know, as Channel 4 always do, we try and take a slightly different take on entertainment, and that's really what we've gone for. So please give that a watch. That is also excellent. Podcast-wise, I'm really cheesy. There's one called Dish with Nick Grimshaw, and it's, I love it. And it's a brand one as well, so it's a Waitrose one, but it's great, and they do wonderful interviews.
What makes it great? The interviews?
Oh, the interviews are great, and you know, Angela Hunter, Michelin star chef, so you've just got amazing cooking in it as well. I don't know, I love it, and it's a really cheesy choice, so I'm really sorry.
Oh,
BBC Sounds also have there's something called the Morning After Mix, and if you whack it on a Sunday morning, it's the most beautiful thing. You can just sit in bed with your croissant. It's great. So that's what I think is on my playlist at the moment.
Love it. Great way to start. Let's dive into Channel 4. So back in January, you announced Fast Forward. This is your new strategy to really evolve the business, the digital transformation to your 2030s and staying true to Channel 4. Can you talk us through the strategy and how that's going?
Yeah, so there's several kind of component parts to it. You know, there's transforming our organisation, making us ready for a digital world, and then diversifying our revenues. So we're already making pretty good progress. So if you look at most commercial broadcast in the UK, about 10% of the revenue comes from digital. We're kind of, I think we're 26% at the moment. We want to get to about 30% by next year, and then by 2030 we want that to be 50%. Really, a lot of the changes are about changing a broadcaster to a streamer. We're already well on that journey, but for instance, when you're doing a TV channel, you need to fill lots of different slots, right? And you've got to create volume. When you're filling a streaming channel, actually you're not quite doing that, and you commission in a very different way. So we've changed our organisation. We've made some changes. Obviously, that has been an organisational transformation, which has meant changing the shape of the organisation as well. We're coming to the end of that process, but how are we doing? Well, last month was our biggest ever recorded month on streaming since record. So we're delighted with the progress that we're making in terms of our switch to streaming.
Got it. Now, both Channel 4 and Spotify, you know, we've got rich history when it comes to innovation and technology and finding new ways to get to those audiences, and in particular younger audiences. When you think about, you know, your business and how you're reaching to those audiences, what is sort of key to you in terms of your approach?
Well, certainly partnering with Spotify, I mean, I think it makes a lot of sense. So you are even more youth skewed than we are.
That was the second part of the question.
Oh, sorry, yeah, damn it.
But no, that's quality. Go with Spotify straight off.
Spotify's great.
That's brilliant.
You know.
Yeah, that's good.
My hands.
Wow.
Look, so it's quite a natural partnership between us, and you know the way we are trying to approach it is behaviours have changed. So previously, you know, young people would flick on a television, mooch around some linear channels, find where they want it to go. Now the behavior tends to be turn on a streaming platform. We are playing a little bit of catch up in that regard. We're still the most youth skewed of the streamers, of the public service streamers, but now a lot of behavior is I'm automatically going to switch on the Netflix or your Disney Pluses or things like that. We want to more and more get into kind of 16 to 24-year-olds that actually you can flick on the Channel 4 streaming platform. You have amazing reach within that audience. We have pretty good reach, and so really we're trying to kind of leverage your great work in that area and make sure that a new generation of people see Channel 4 content for the first time.
We're definitely going to spend a few minutes on some of the collaboration that we've done. But you touched on there that competitive, or the crowded environment for streamers too as well. Now, creative storytelling is always going to be the sort of key, because that builds that deeper connection with audiences. How do you think about creative storytelling at Channel 4?
We think we don't have the biggest budgets, and therefore we need to be the most creative, and we need to take risks. So I joined Channel 4 a year and a half ago, and you do those awful e-learnings, right, whenever you join any company. Well, the one at Channel 4 was the first one you do is how do you take risk? And that really kind of jumped out at me. And so that permeates through our commissioning, and that's how we tell a lot of our stories. But more importantly, it kind of permeates in our marketing. And you don't have to spend huge amounts of money in order to be really, really creative. You might have noticed a Joe Lycett billboard that went up the other day. It is not an enormous media buy. It's one site in Lambeth, in fact. But there's a lot of discussion about it, and that's the kind of thing. You can be a little bit tactical. You can be very smart. You can be very disruptive. If you look at what we did, we had a climate season, and instead of going climate, doom, 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 what we did was we did carbon skid marks as a campaign, and paraded a pair of underwear that got pulled over by the police, by the way, in central London, and really tried to be disruptive in the way we told that story, as opposed to just clipping together the programs that we have.
Can I just double tap onto that? You mentioned disruptive there. Obviously that is a big tenet of Channel 4 since day one as well. Is that something that comes to the top of every brief that you do, would you say?
Yeah, 100%. I think, disruption is in our DNA, and that's what we're there to do. We were set up to disrupt how programs were commissioned within the United Kingdom. That is what we're there to. We're there to champion unheard voices. We are there to do things that are different by our nature. It's one of the things that makes us, in some ways, makes our job really, really hard, because what makes most commercial sense is not the natural direction of travel of what we do. We are there to do something different. We are there to be different, and we're very proud of that.
Fantastic. Let's get back into that creative storytelling piece. And I want to ask a further question on that. Has it got harder, creative storytelling?
That's a really good question. You didn't tell me about this question. I said he was going to Paxman me, and I knew it.
Only with this one.
Only with this one.
And also, Iain went to Zaid's leaving do last night too, as well.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say he came straight from there.
No,
you didn't at all. You went early.
I went home early. I was good. So Zaid is our former CMO, and we've got the amazing Katie Jackson, who's taken over from him. So has creative storytelling got more difficult? Potentially, but I think it's always been tricky, hasn't it? It's always been really hard to do something that cuts through. It's always been really tricky to tell stories in a new and original way. That's why creative people are so valuable. So I don't think it's got more difficult. I think it's as difficult as ever, but you've now got this kind of plethora of choice of where you put that story out there. Consumers are more and more time poor in what they consume. So you've just got to be even more creative than you were in the past.
That's a great answer. That was very good. So let's go into that creative storytelling. We partnered earlier in the year on a 6-month UK exclusive campaign, Channel 4 Streamland. It was an in-app experience, everybody. It was pretty incredible, really looking at how listeners could find their next TV obsession based upon their music and listening behaviours too as well. Let's play the video first, and then I've got a few questions for you. Let's go.
Here.
Very proud of that. Well done. So in terms of that, the brief, what was the brief and what were you trying to achieve?
Okay, so when anyone turns on their telly, we think there are certain types of behaviors. There's a large chunk of people who know exactly what they want to watch, and therefore they go to the streamer who they think has that program on it. And then there's a much bigger chunk of people who don't know what to watch and therefore are in browse mode. And they roughly split into, I don't want to watch, but I know I want to watch sci-fi or comedy or something, so they know the genre. And then there's a group of people who go, I have no clue, please inspire me. So we think we're really good at the first chunk of telling people about our programs and making people go, wow, I want to go watch that program. I think where we are evolving is driving consideration of ourselves as a platform. So we are the automatic choice when you turn on the TV and you want to watch a comedy. We wanted to get better at that. Now you do that by going, I have relevant content, I have a good range of content, and we have brilliant high quality content, right? So how do you do that in a way that consumers then understand? And that's really the genesis of the brief. It was like, how do you surface content, number one, and give good recommendations? But more to the point, what we're really trying to do is go, look at all the amazing stuff that Channel 4 has. And look at all the amazing comedies that Channel 4 has. Look at all the relevant content to you. And that's really what we wanted to help. And you had a great tool to help us do it.
I was going to ask you, well, that's the next follow-on question. Why Spotify? Why did you choose us?
First and foremost, Spotify has amazing reach, so you can get to a lot of people really, really, really quickly, number one. Number two, we've talked about kind of brand affinity, and the quality of your product offering and how you're kind of invested in people's lives is something that we love, and it's a great entertainment platform. I think then the actual, the stage, which is the product that we use to do this, taking people's music recommendations and then matching them to great TV and entertainment products. I mean, that's brilliant. I mean, we understand what you want to listen to, and therefore here's a load of programs that are really relevant and we think you'll really like. And therefore, all of those kind of things combined made it really, really appealing. Now, the other thing that you've got, which is really good, is a range of products to get people into this. So this was a bit of a weird one for us, because if you think about programmatic marketing 101, you don't drive to someone else's platform, but that's essentially what we were doing. We were saying, oh, there's you're listening to a podcast and there's a host read in the middle of the podcast, and it sends you to another place in Spotify, not to Channel 4. Or there's a programmatic ad that's delivered and you hit it and you come to another part of Spotify, you don't come to Channel 4. That's quite a risk for us in terms of our spend, right? But we because the aim was changing consideration, just doing the things we'd always done and sending them to the same place wasn't going to change anything.
You used a whole range of different types of ad formats too as well. So your audio, video, display, etc. There's a real sort of multi-format approach. Can you share why you wanted to go down that route? Because
we didn't know what was going to work, was first and foremost. And I think when you don't know, you go wide. And I think all the way through, we've even refined it. And your team were great, by the way, at kind of giving us better and better data about what was working, what wasn't. We changed a lot of things kind of midway through. So we actually ended up focusing much more on particular genres, and that transform the results of what we were doing too. So we wanted to start wide and kind of narrow down. The other thing is we at Channel 4, we have continuity announcers in the office. I sit next to them, they're great. They're mad, but they're great. And so therefore we are able to kind of produce our own audio ads. We don't have to rely on a kind of external creative agency. We're able to turn around that stuff really quickly, and our products are kind of ever changing. So doing lots of different ad formats at high rotation was that good blend of testing, refinement, and then the ability to change content really quickly.
Right. How did it do? Was it a success?
Roaring success. I imagine it wasn't. We'd just be like, no, it's rubbish.
I know.
Yeah, that's like, why are we here? So it reached a hell of a lot of people. It reached millions and millions of people, and millions of people engaged with it. Brilliant. Rock and roll. We were already doing that with Spotify ads. The big number that we were already excited about was of those people who engaged with the tool, if there was a 10 percentage point change in consideration in a positive way, obviously. And that was a big thing for us. And then there was a 17 percentage point change versus a control group of people who go, Channel 4 has a great range of high quality programming that's relevant for me. And so therefore nailed it.
Wow. Can you believe we're out of time? That's crazy, isn't it? It really is. One more question. and this is to all the marketers in the room. Put your hand up first. How many marketers, advertisers do we have in the room? Please stick your hand up. Okay, so to the marketers that are here, this is quite an intimate group here too as well. What advice would you give them in terms of the Spotify platform when thinking about creativity and impact?
So, look, you've got massive reach within it. It's a brilliant, fantastic platform. Be creative. Remember that listeners are time poor, and don't be afraid to kind of disrupt their day just a little bit. But also remember, there's so many different ad tools that you can use, and ones that access premium subscribers, one that access non-premium subscribers, and you've got the whole of a nation at your beck and call.
Wonderful. Iain Walters, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.